Welcome in, everybody, to the High Noon edition, the High Noon stream of what I like to do here. 2 streams a day. I do High Noon here at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time, and then we do something called Pillow Talk. Bugs and Parker proudly present Pillow Talk. That comes on Monday through Thursday evenings at around 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. Got a whole lot of stuff to get to today, although I have to just from the outset, I have to tell you, maybe I sound a little bit funny. You always sound funny. No, I know. I woke up this morning. I am sick. I don't know what the hell is wrong with me. I got like phlegm. Probably the Rona. I've gone this far without getting it. I'm all vaxxed up. I'm not like feverish though. I know what it was. I know what it is. I blasted the air conditioning last night. I hadn't had the air conditioning on since my kid was here. And my kid doesn't know how air conditioning works. And so it got a little bit warm last night. So my kid, when he's here, he like puts the air conditioning down really low. And I constantly have to monitor it. I have to be like, what are you doing? Why is this set at 50? He doesn't understand. He just likes it to constantly blow. So the air conditioning hadn't been on since he left on Tuesday. And I put it on last night just because I was hot. I was hot at night, and I just woke up kind of in a haze, and I turned it on, and I think it was blasting all night long. I woke up. I got a cough. I'm going to be coughing. So please bear with me, folks. I'm going to be coughing. I don't have a sore throat or a fever or anything like that. It's just, am I all like cold? It's like a weird cold. Probably going to die. Probably. But, who will miss me? No one will miss. I'm telling you, nobody. 1, 2, 3 people max would miss me if I died. But I will survive. I expect to survive. I hope to survive. Yeah. I mean, all things considered, I don't want to die. I don't know. I hope to survive. All right. I got my kid's birthday coming up next week. Well, like in a week and a half. I don't want to die before then. That would be a rough birthday present because he's one of the 2 that would miss me. That's, I can count on that. That's one of the 2 that I know I got in my column. All right. So let's end of the month. We have not reached our goal. If you can tip the show, we'd appreciate that. Be a patron of the show. You can do Venmo. You can do Cash App. You can do all that stuff. We're very close. We're within $80. So, that's pretty good. We will make it. We will. And look, I always say this, we'll find a way to do the shows anyway. I mean, even if we have to change when the shows air, we'll still figure out a way how to do it. So thank you to all the people who, tipped the show this week. You guys, you last week tippers, man. You're always the guys that like, I have so much anxiety. And then you guys come through in the last week and it's just like, okay, awesome. All right, maybe that's awesome. Thank you so much. So I do appreciate it, but still haven't reached our goal. So if you got anything left in your tipping budget, drop us one if you want, if you don't mind. I'm sorry. It's going to be a whole day of like, it's going to be gross. Just go ahead. You can go away now. You don't have to be here for this. This is we got a lot of stuff to talk about though. There is a lot of stuff. What we do here on the High Noon shows, we run through all the hot topics, the headlines, the current events, anything that's trending, anything that people are talking about. We try and give it to you really quickly. What we do first, however, is we run down what the day is. We tell you all the history of the day. We tell you why today is important. We tell you why today is tragic. We give you birthdays. We give you deaths. And then we move into all the things that people are talking about. So let's get started, right? I honestly don't know how long my voice is going to hold out, but we're going to push through. We're going to try. So bear with me, folks. Today is April the 29th. It is the 119th day of the year. There are 246 days remaining until the end of the year. You know what, if I do this, if I just talk like this, maybe it'll be better. This actually feels better. Let's find out what today is. Let's take a look at the National Day of calendar. Let's run through it. Let's see here. We'd like to do this at the start of the show just to see how we should be commemorating this day or I don't know. It's National Hairball Awareness Day. That's just stupid. What should I click on it and find out what? No, I think it says it all. It's National Arbor Day. It's a tree day, so plant a tree. Get on out there and just plant a tree. It's National Poem in Your Pocket Day. Again, we're just making these up as we go along now. It's National Historic Marker Day. Okay. It's National Peace Rose Day. Well, that sounds nice, but I don't know what that is. It's National Shrimp Scampi Day. Shrimp Scampi sounds good. You know, me being sick today, cold, you're allowed to eat with cold, right? Or wait, it's feed a cold, starve a fever, or is it feed a fever, starve a cold? I don't know. You'll probably know in the moment. Like if you have a fever, you'll probably know if you want to eat. I'm hungry, and I'm going to use my feeling ill today to go off my diet. I don't know what I'm going to get, but shrimp scampi sounds good. National Shrimp Scampi Day. It's also National Zipper Day. Another stupid day. National Zipper Day. Well, oh, what? Today we wear zippers every day. I don't understand what these things are. All right, let's get into what happened on this day. This historic day in 1960 during World War I, the United Kingdom's 6th Indian Division surrendered to Ottoman forces at the Seas of Kut in one of the largest surrenders in the history of the British Empire. And we were talking this week a lot about the Ottoman Empire and about how don't be sleeping on the history of the Ottoman Empire. The Turks were once a world power. Look at it. The English, the impressive English Empire got their asses handed to them by the Ottomans on this day in 1916. Also on this day in 1960, the Easter Rising for all us Irish people out there. This is a big day. After 6 days of fighting, Irish rebel leaders surrendered to the British forces in Dublin, bringing the Easter Rising to an end. They were all lined up right in front of all their troops, and they were all executed. Some notable leaders of the ongoing Irish independence movement would not be executed. They would just be put in prison. Michael Collins being chief among them. Michael Collins was sentenced to prison after they shot all of the other people. And they probably should have shot Michael Collins because he went on to cause a whole bunch of problems for the Brits following this Easter Rising. On this day in 1945, during World War II, happy anniversary, Adolf Hitler and Eva Braun. That's right. On this day, Adolf Hitler married his longtime partner, Eva Braun, in a Berlin bunker and designates Admiral Karl Donitz as his successor. Hitler and Braun both commit suicide the following day. Do you think she knew? Like, do you think he told her? Like, okay, here's the plan. We're going to get married, and then do you think I don't know. I don't know much about Eva Braun. Like, was she good looking? Like, what are they? Let's see if I can get a picture of Eva Braun here. Let's see what Eva Braun looked like. Because you would think, Hitler was not a handsome man. And you would think that he would probably be able to get almost. No, she is not. Even by like 1945 standards, she is very plain looking. Eva Braun although was she considered a beauty? There were like beautiful, like German women are beautiful. So he had the pick of the litter, you would think. Let's see here. I don't care. I can't get into it. I don't really care. I don't think that now is the moment for me to educate myself on whether or not Eva Braun was hot or not. I don't think so. Jeff says a large shrimp it's National Shrimp Scampi Day. Jeff's the food critic of the chat room. A large shrimp is only 10 to 12 calories. It's the butter that's 100 calories per tablespoon. I've been tossing shrimp in pesto. You could toss some shrimp in your low calorie. Dude, if I'm gonna go off the diet because I'm not feeling well, I'm going full off the diet. I appreciate the tip, but yeah, nah. Let's see here. Also on this day in 1945, Dachau concentration camp is liberated by the United States troops. So that's good. That was a good thing that happened. Tomorrow, a great thing happened. Hitler committed suicide. On this day in 1992, we skip forward. Whole bunch of nothing happened between 1945 and 1992. On this day in 1992, the riots in Los Angeles were popping off. Following the acquittal of police officers charged with excessive force in the beating of Rodney King, over the next 3 days, 63 people are killed and hundreds of buildings destroyed. I remember, wow, when was this? 1992. So I was, oh God. Okay, so I remember this because I was I was in the band management game. I had a number of local bands that I was booking into clubs and all of that. This particular evening, I was booking a band called Daughter Judy, which I always enjoyed that name, Daughter Judy. You know, like the Jetsons, Daughter Judy. I was still a good band name. Hey, Ross Rubio, you and I, we like the band name game. Daughter Judy, good band name. So I was booking a band called Daughter Judy into Stingrays. And Stingrays was a club on Cicero Avenue in Chicago. And Daughter Judy was, I don't know if they were I think it was like an audition. Like they were like, let them go up on stage and play tonight. We'll see if we'll put them in on a Saturday. So Daughter Judy was playing, and I was sitting at the bar in Stingrays just watching the TV as Los Angeles burned. And afterwards, my friend Frank was like, dude, you didn't even watch the set. And I'm like, yeah, that's because I think Los Angeles is burning to the ground. So that's my historic memory of Daughter Judy. Let's see here. Yeah, Ross. Yeah, thank you, Ross. He appreciates Daughter Judy. I thought that was and there were no girls in the group. You would think there would be a girl and a lead singer maybe in a group called Daughter Judy, but no, Daughter Judy. Daughter Judy, Jane, his wife. Let's see here. Kevin Barber says Daughter Judy, Ballroom Blitz. That is a song that they did. That are you is Kevin Barber reference? Did Kevin Barber go see Daughter Judy? I don't think anybody knew Daughter Judy was. Anyway, I liked them. I enjoyed them. I thought we were gonna make money off that group. Let's see here. What else do we have here? 2004. This is interesting. The final Oldsmobile is built in Lansing, Michigan, ending 107 years of vehicle production. Now, here's why this is interesting to me. I didn't know there were no Oldsmobiles anymore for the last 18 years. I didn't know there weren't Oldsmobiles. I hadn't thought about Oldsmobiles in probably 20 years. But as it turns out, there haven't been Oldsmobiles in 18 years. I don't know. Something I took for granted. If someone had said to me yesterday, "Hey, I bought a new Oldsmobile," I'd probably go, "Huh? I don't think I've heard of anyone buying an Oldsmobile in a number." I didn't know that they weren't being made anymore, but they're not. Oldsmobiles no longer around. Final one made in 2000. I wonder who got the final Oldsmobile, right? Like somebody bought the final Oldsmobile, or maybe not. Excuse me, or maybe not bought the final Oldsmobile, but. Right, maybe it didn't sell. Maybe the final Oldsmobile just, I don't know, sat on a lot somewhere and then got crushed. Who knows? On this day in 2011, the wedding of Prince William and Catherine Middleton takes place at Westminster Abbey in London. That's 11 years ago. 11. I wouldn't have thought that they were married for 11 years, but I guess they have been. They've been married for 11 years now. On this day in 2015. I remember this. I watched this game. On this day in 2015, a baseball game between the Baltimore Orioles and the Chicago White Sox sets the all-time low attendance mark for Major League Baseball. 0 fans were in attendance for the game. 0 people were in the stadium to watch in 2015 the Chicago White Sox take on the Baltimore Orioles in Baltimore. Now, you might say, it's probably because both teams sucked. Well, I think they did. I think they did both suck at the time, but that's not why. This was, do you remember the Freddie Gray riots in Baltimore? The Freddie Gray riots had broken out in Baltimore around the park like hours before the game was scheduled, and the players were already there, and the game was like, they didn't cancel the game. They just decided to play the game. But instead, they just decided, yeah, we're going to lock the gates here. We're not going to let any ticket holders in. Nobody can come into this game. We're just going to kind of lock the city down, but the game's going to be played. So I remember watching that game on TV, and what I remember about it was the only people, there were zero fans. So technically zero fans in attendance, but there were some people in the seats, and it was all the concession people. So there was probably like, I don't know, 50 people spread out around the park. And it was all just the concession dudes just sitting there and security guards. Because the people who were inside, they were locked in because there were riots going on outside. So they just took in the game. Yeah, I remember watching. That was a weird game. That was an eerie game to watch because you could hear, like, I remember watching on the broadcast, you could hear nothing but sirens and like bangs going off outside the stadium. And then inside the stadium, there was just nothing, just some meaningless baseball game being played while Baltimore burned. That didn't burn, but you know what I'm saying. There were riots. There were real riots going on. Let's do some birthdays here on this day. Born on this day, a real Texas legend. A guy that I've had the opportunity to interview a couple of times. A true man of the people. A true legend. Willie Nelson. Willie Nelson, born on this day in 1933. American singer, songwriter, guitarist, producer, and actor. When I say I had a chance to interview him twice, that's actually not true. Interviewed him once on the phone. He gave us a lot of time because I remember we were thinking we're probably just going to get Willie for like 5 minutes, right? He didn't. He hung out with us. He talked to us on the phone. He didn't rush the interview. It was a really great interview, and I remember thinking, wow, that guy was really nice. And then a couple of years later, I was at he did some show. And I was with somebody who had access to his like backstage area, and they brought us backstage, and we were just hanging out backstage. And you know me, anybody knows me, I hate going backstage. It's like my least favorite thing. I don't belong there. The people don't want me there. There are people back there doing work. There are people back. Everybody that is hanging out backstage is just in the way. So I always hate doing that. But Willie Nelson was just milling about, and he came up and he was talking to the guy that I was with because they were kind of friends. And a nice little chat with him. What a wonderfully kind guy. Total no pretension whatsoever. Just, oh, hey man, yeah, nice to meet you. And I'm like, yeah, we talked to you once on the air here. And he goes, I talked to a lot of people. I go, you don't remember. He goes, nah, I don't remember. I go, you wouldn't remember, Willie. It's all right. You don't have to remember. He's like, well, I appreciate you. I hope it doesn't sound rude. I'm like, no, it doesn't sound rude. He was such a nice guy. Happy birthday to you, Willie Nelson. You are beloved. Born on this day in 1934. One of my favorite White Sox of all time, Luis Aparicio, little Louis Aparicio, Venezuelan-American baseball player, Luis Aparicio, born on this day in 1934. Born on this day in 1938 and rotting in hell as we speak, Bernie Madoff. Remember Madoff, American businessman, financer, convicted felon? He stole more money from... Look, Bernie Madoff stole money from rich people. And y'all know how I feel about rich people. So he's not as bad as the Wall Street guys who tanked the entire 401k fund of the Mississippi Janitors Union or whatever. He's not as bad as that, but he took a lot of money from a lot of rich people. Bernie Madoff, born on this day in 1951, Dale Earnhardt, American race car driver, died in 2001. Of course, father of Dale Jr., died at the Daytona 500. Well, hi, Brady. Afternoon, Brady. Dale Earnhardt died in a car wreck. I watch, I'm a big fan of Formula One. Dale Earnhardt died in a car wreck at the Daytona 500. That was, did anybody... How did he die in that? The accidents that I have seen, the accidents that I've just seen in the last couple of years in Formula One have looked a billion times worse than what happened with Dale Earnhardt. But man, it just shows how precarious human life is. He just hit the wrong way. And born on this day in 1952, I'm going to go ahead and say it. Happy birthday to you, but you are, in my opinion, possibly bottom 5 least interesting Saturday Night Live people of all time. Nora Dunn. Nora Dunn, born on this day in 1952. I can't think of one thing that Nora Dunn ever did on Saturday Night Live. Bottom 5 Saturday Night Live draft. Nah, I can't do that. I wouldn't know where to begin. Besides, I am one of my great bar tricks is that I have seen every episode of Saturday Night Live that has ever been produced and aired on television. Every single one of them. Every single one. I've seen all the bad. I've seen all the good. Every single one. I have seen every single episode. And if I were to try and create a list of the bottom 5 Saturday Night Live cast members of all time, it would be something I would take serious. I would spend a good hour. I would be looking at everybody, and I'd probably more than an hour. I would take more than that because I'd be pulling up YouTube clips. Chris Kattan would be in there. I know. Oh, Chris Kattan, he was Mango. Chris Kattan sucked. Chris Kattan was awful. No, thank you. But Nora Dunn is definitely in my bottom 5 Saturday Night Live performers of all time. Happy birthday, Nora Dunn. Born on this day in 1952, same day as Nora Dunn. Somebody who I love, Ronnie Washington. Ron Washington, American baseball player, manager, Texas Ranger legend. Yeah, I'm going to call him a Texas Ranger legend. Took the Rangers to 2 World Series. Sure, they lost them both. But Ron Washington, nobody else can claim that. Ron Washington, to this point, greatest Texas Ranger manager in history. That's what I'm saying. 2 World Series. His team was loaded. He was Ron Washington, and he deserves your respect. Happy birthday, Ron Washington. Also born on this day in 1954. Someone who years ago I might have said was one of the great stand-up comedians of all time, but as time passes, he keeps falling down my list of the greatest. His show too. His show was, I would consider, the greatest show of all time. And now, as new shows emerge, Jerry Seinfeld. Jerry Seinfeld, born on this day in 1954. I love Seinfeld, but you know what's funny? It's like I always say, okay, here's a good example. Curb Your Enthusiasm is better than Seinfeld. I said it. There you go. Curb is better than Seinfeld. Just like I argue, it's like Curb is to Seinfeld what the Foo Fighters are to Nirvana. See how that works? It's like they both kind of sprung from the same place, but the one that came second was actually a little bit better than the one that came first. Now, when I say the Foo Fighters Nirvana thing, I'm not denigrating Nirvana. Nirvana was very important. Nirvana might be the more important band than the Foo Fighters, but just on works, Foo Fighters have done more. Foo Fighters are more successful than Nirvana. Foo Fighters have they sold more albums? I mean, Nirvana's only had 3. Foo Fighters have had like 10, but the 3 that Nirvana put out were like massive. Yeah, we're going to go with Foo Fighters are more successful than Nirvana. Correct me if I'm wrong. Born on this day in 1957, Daniel Day-Lewis, famed shoemaker. Yeah, that's what he is. He's a shoemaker now. Daniel Day-Lewis, probably the greatest actor of his generation. A couple of years back said, I'm not acting anymore. I'm done. I'm going to go make shoes. And he legitimately is a shoemaker now. Weirdo. Weird guy. That's a weird guy thing to do. Daniel Day-Lewis, born on this day in 1957, noted British-Irish actor and shoemaker. Born on this day in 1958, fabulous babe from the past, Michelle Pfeiffer. Michelle Pfeiffer, American actress, born on this day in 1958. Michelle Pfeiffer draft. Nah, I can't do a Michelle Pfeiffer draft. I don't have the energy for it. Born on this day in 1958, same day as Michelle Pfeiffer, Eve Plum. Eve Plum. You guys know who Eve Plum is? Anybody in the chat room? Who's Eve Plum? It's Eve Plum's birthday. Eve Plum was born on this day in 1958. Do you know who Eve Plum is? All right, you're too late. The delay is killing me. Jan Brady. Eve Plum is Jan Brady. Happy birthday, Jan Brady. Eve Plum, born on this day in 1958. Born on this day in 1968, Carnie Wilson. Daughter of the great Brian Wilson. Sister of... who's the other one? Ann and Nancy. Well, let's just say that Ann and no, we can't do that. They're in Hart. Who's the other Wilson sister? There was Carney, the other one who was like invisible, and then there was China Phillips, who was very pretty, and they were in Wilson Phillips. Wilson Phillips. It was like it was a progeny supergroup made up of children of the Beach Boys and children of the Mamas and the Papas. Wilson Phillips. They had a bunch of hits back in the day. They had they were big when like in the early '90s, right? Then they had some massive hits. It was like three girls, two sisters who were the children of Brian Wilson of the Beach Boys, and then a girl who was the daughter of John Phillips from the Mamas and the Papas. Well, let's not get into John Phillips. I can't. Oh, God. John Phillips had like he had a lot of daughters, but China was the gorgeous one. China is the one that looked like her mom, Michelle Phillips. China was gorgeous. Wendy Wilson. Thank you, Ross. It was China and Wendy Wilson. No, it was Carney and Wendy Wilson, and then China Phillips. And today is Carney Wilson's birthday. Also born on this day in 1970, Andre Agassi. Andre Agassi. He was a tennis player. He was a tennis player who was, with every ounce of his soul, he was fighting baldness. He had like the long flowing hair, but it started like in the middle of his head because he had the receding hairline, but his hair, and he wore a hat in his hair. He was really fighting baldness. And now when you see Andre Agassi, he has come to terms with his male pattern baldness, and he's still a handsome man. He's a handsome guy. He is a handsome bald guy. So happy birthday to you, Andre Agassi. Born on this day also, same day as Andre Agassi. One of my all-time Hall of Fame babes. I don't know what it. I don't know what it is about this. I don't know what it is about this actress, but I remember seeing her like early on in her career and going, "Oh my, that's a different kind of woman." That's a reinvention of the woman because she wasn't traditionally beautiful, but she was undeniably gorgeous. And of course, I'm talking about Kill Bill's Uma Thurman. Uma Thurman, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, Uma Thurman, 52 years old today, born on this day in 1970. Still probably gorgeous. I recently, by recently, I mean within the last year, watched the Kill Bill trilogy with my kid, my 12-year-old son. Whoa, we love it. Oh, what that stuff is made for a 12-year-old, right? I mean, the karate and the motorcycles and just all the action sequences. I'll tell you something, man. My 12-year-old looked at me and he goes, I see what you're saying about her. She's got a little something. I go, yeah, Uma Thurman's got something that, I don't know, I can't explain, but it's undeniable. She's an attractive lady. Okay, couple of Chicago Bears celebrating big birthdays today. One not so great Chicago Bear and one legendary Chicago Bear. Both born on the exact same day. That's right, born on the exact same day. The not so legendary. Jay Cutler. Oh God, we thought we had a quarterback in Jay Cutler, and then it was just like, when is he going to be good? I thought he was supposed to be really good. When is he going to be really good? Jay Cutler, happy birthday to you. Also born in 1983. Legendary Chicago, one of the most dominant in a team that is historically stacked with defensive monsters. Tommy Harris, born on this day in 1983. If not for the injuries, the poor injury bug that just kind of derailed his career, Tommy Harris was a monster for about 3 seasons. Tommy Harris and Brian Urlacher and Mike Brown and Peanut Tillman. Oh my God. They were just Tommy Harris, happy birthday to you. I love you, Tommy Harris. I love you. I cried when I learned that your knee was just shattered. Never played for like 8 years, but he was never, after that knee went, boy, he was just never the guy that he was. That's terrible. All right, some deaths. We got to commemorate some deaths, some passings. Excuse me, folks. As I said early on, I am battling some stuff here. Dead on this day, Mick Ronson, English guitarist, songwriter, and producer. Mick Ronson, probably probably the most important guitar player of the glam rock era. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say that. Mick Ronson died on this day in 1993. Any guitar you've ever heard playing a really cool Bowie song, that was Mick Ronson. Produced Lou Reed's Transformer, which is always one of the great albums of all time. What else did he do? I don't know. Touring musician. He put out some solo stuff. But Mick Ronson, most notably remembered as Spiders from Mars, Bowie's guitar player, played on like 5 or 6 Bowie albums. Mick Ronson. There you go. He died on this day in 1993. Excuse me. Died on this day in 1997. Mike Royko, American journalist and author, newspaper columnist. Read him every single morning of my youth growing up. My grandpa used to read Mike Royko all the time. You got to read this. And I'm like 10 years old and I'm reading about city politics. I'm like, yeah, I don't understand this, but this guy's kind of funny. Mike Royko, very funny columnist, died on this day. Ran into him at a gas station once. He wasn't nice. he was, didn't want to be Mike Royko in that moment. I think he was drunk, probably. He drank a lot. Died on this day in 1997. Mike Royko, legendary American columnist. Very, very highly regarded. Pulitzer Prize winner, all that stuff. Funny, acerbic, mean. He was good. He was good. And he was mean when I ran into him at the Mobile at... what street is that? 94th Avenue and 159th Street. Yeah, that's where I ran into him. Go ahead, check your Google Maps. You can find that place. Dead on this day in 2014, Bob Hoskins. Bob Hoskins. I think of Bob Hoskins. I think of Roger Rabbit. Oh, Roger Rabbit was great. Bob Hoskins died on this day in 2014. He died young. He was born in maybe not that young. He died young. He was born in 1942. He should still be alive. Bob Hoskins should still be with us. All right, let's get into the trending topics. Let's get into all the things that people are talking about today, the things that are happening on the trends, things that are happening in the headlines. Excuse me. Again, I am battling some kind of a horrible cold that I woke up with. I have no energy. And I took a bunch of aspirin. And now that I'm sitting here, I'm wondering, did I accidentally take PMs? Did I take, because I took 4. Because I'm like, okay, I got this little creeping headache. I got to knock this out right now. And I'm a little bit concerned that maybe I took 4 Tylenol PMs. Well, we'll know in about a half hour. Just keep mainlining coffee. World War III is trending. That's right, World War III. You think the Ukraine war is just going away? Well, it's not. The UK, the defense minister of the United Kingdom, Ben Wallace, has warned that Putin may try to mobilize the Russian people with a global offensive against, quote, Nazis, as his invasion of the Ukraine has failed. So here's the premise that's happening here. So Putin has really ramped up in the last couple of days this idea, because it's starting to creep into the Russian people that Vladimir Putin just invaded a country that didn't attack them first, and that there's no reason for this invasion to have taken place in the first place. And now a whole bunch of Russian soldiers are coming back in body bags, and it doesn't seem like the vaunted Russian military is having very much success at all against the upstart Ukrainian people. So among the rank and file there in Russia, people are starting to be like, okay, what are we doing here? So in the last couple of weeks, he's been doing this all along, but in the last couple of weeks, it's really been stepped up. That this isn't a war against an innocent Ukrainian people. This is a war against a Nazi government. He is basically just telling all the people that the Ukrainians are Nazis. Even though the president is Jewish, they're not really fact-checking anything over there right now. So the concern now is that because Russia is getting their ass handed to them, they're not just going to end this. Russia is not just going to be like, all right, never mind, forget it, and like back out, because that is just something that is not in the makeup of Vladimir Putin. He's not going to lose. He's going to go down swinging, and if he does that, he's going to go down. So the fear now among both NATO, dude who runs NATO, can't see his, where's his name at? I don't know, whoever the dude who runs NATO and Ben Wallace, the defense secretary of the United Kingdom, are both saying, okay, prepare for like desperation mode. It's Hail Mary time for Putin. And that could mean any number of things. That could mean he's going to invade on other fronts. He's going to invade other countries. He's going to taunt NATO into getting into an all-out war, which will allow him to really open up the can of whoop ass. And, he's been saber rattling with nuclear weapons. It's getting ugly. It's getting really, I know we're all sitting here watching this going, oh, we're bored. We're bored of this. When is this going to end? It's not. Don't be bored by it. Pay attention now more than ever, because scary shit is about to go down, at least according to people who seem to know. And Ben Wallace, the United Kingdom Defense Secretary, will be one of those people who would know. Russian troops first crossed the border into the Ukraine on February 24th, claiming they wanted to denazify the country. Putin has also threatened to use nuclear weapons against Western powers if they get in his way, with Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov saying the threat of nuclear war is serious. So that's why World War III is trending on this day. We'll see. Let's see here. Oh, I wanted to show this. Okay, so this was trending locally, and by locally I mean in Chicago, but it was also on MSN. So I guess it was trending nationally. So the other day we showed footage of a baseball game, a Little League game in North Carolina, where the kids were all out there having fun, enjoying America's pastime, playing baseball. And then you heard like all this crazy gunfire. You heard there was a big shooting and all the little kids had to hit the deck, and it's crazy. It's just crazy to think that this is happening. And I remember the time I asked, I said, where is this? I don't even know where this is. And it turned out it was in North Carolina. Well, this one is trending. This happened yesterday. Happened again. That's right. Another baseball game. Except this one, we're going to show this one because, here, let me show you this one. See if we're sharing. Okay. A little bit of a background for you on this one. This baseball game is occurring at 79th and Western in Chicago. This is about 2 blocks from where I spent. I have played baseball on this particular baseball field. This is the baseball field of St. Rita High School, which when I was there, it was Quigley South High School. This is the baseball field at 79th and Western, right behind the McDonald's that I used to go to, my local McDonald's, walking distance from where I grew up on the south side of Chicago there. I mean, when I wasn't living in Orland Park, this is where my grandparents lived. This is where my mom comes from. This is where I spent like a great deal of my time. And again, I played on this field. I played baseball on this field. I played pickup baseball. We used to walk up to this field with our bats and all the neighborhood kids, and we would play baseball on this field. And this happened yesterday. Can I ask you, pay particular attention to the kid at first base here. It looks like this kid at first base is shot. He's not. Thankfully, none of these kids got shot. This kid at first base drops like he's been shot. It's insane. Unbelievable. St. Rita's leading 4-0, bottom of the 3rd inning over Marmion Academy. All right, so there you have it. It's the second time this week that we have seen video from a kid's baseball game interrupted by just random gunfire. Now, I'll tell you a little bit. I'll give you a little context on this. I don't know what the hell was happening in North Carolina or South Carolina or where that other one was. It turns out that it was a bunch of teenagers and they got into a fight in the parking lot and then gunfire erupted. This is gang violence. This is straight up gang violence. This neighborhood, Western Avenue, is sort of the dividing line between where the neighborhoods are really bad and where traditionally the neighborhoods were safe. This baseball field is on the side of the street that is safe, which is why as a kid, although, as a kid, we're talking 30 years ago, 35 years ago. So a lot has changed. Who knows about the creep of violence that may have occurred? It's shocking to me. That is shocking to me. I have played on that field. I've done a lot of things on that field. I've done a lot of things on that property. That was in that neighborhood. That was the big stretch of grass, an area where you would go if you wanted to play pickup football or whatever. And so there you have it. All right, more crazy gun violence. That time in my hood. Earlier this week, North Carolina didn't really affect me much. It was just like, boy, that's sad. That affected me. I saw that. I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you nuts? All right, let's get into other trending topics here. Boris Becker is trending. Remember Boris Becker? Boris Becker was one of the greatest tennis players of all time. Boris Becker is going to prison. That's right. Boris Becker has been sentenced to prison. German tennis ace. Becker gets 2.5 years in prison for bankruptcy offenses. Tennis great Boris Becker was sentenced to 2.5 years in prison on Friday for illicitly transferring large amounts of money and hiding assets after he was declared bankrupt. He's a German tennis star who made like hundreds of millions of dollars. He was a big star. How do you go bankrupt? I mean, I understand how poor American athletes who suddenly become millionaires go bankrupt, funding their third cousin's muffler shop or whatever. I mean, I kind of understand, but this is a German precision. This isn't a wealthy, elite German kid. How do you go bankrupt? Judge Deborah Taylor. I said Debra because I was about to cough and I had to change. Excuse me. Judge Deborah Taylor announced the sentence after hearing arguments from both the prosecutor and Becker's attorney. She told the former top-ranked tennis player that he's shown no remorse. While I accept your humiliation as part of the proceedings, there has been no humility on your part, Judge Taylor said. Becker will have to serve at least 15 months before being eligible for release. So basically, he filed bankruptcy, but he had a whole bunch of money, so he just took all of his money and he hid it in a hole in his backyard or whatever. I mean, probably not. He did something probably a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? He had money. He hid his money, and then he went, I'm bankrupt. And so now he's going to jail for that because you can't do that. You can't call bankruptcy if you're bungholing $20 million. Amazon is trending. Boy, it is a wonderful week for those of us who hate the billionaire class. Elon Musk took it on the chin, although he's still got like $200 billion, still the wealthiest man in the world. And Jeff Bezos is now taking it on the chin. Jeff Bezos, Amazon is tanking. Amazon has, let's see here. What does it say here? Which just couldn't happen to a nicer business model. Amazon stock plummeted after the company reported on Thursday slowing growth and higher costs in its latest quarter and offered a disappointing revenue outlook. Where's the number? There's the big numbers. The tech giant said revenue grew 7% from the same period last year, slightly beating analysts' forecasts, but slower than the 9% growth in the final months of last year. The company said, who cares? Amazon reported a net loss of $3.8 billion for the quarter, which ended on March 31st. The company attributed the loss largely to a $7.6 billion loss from its investment in electric automaker Rivian Automotive. See, Rivian is the, for those of you who don't know, Rivian is sort of the Pepsi to Tesla's Coke. And Amazon, Jeff Bezos, has gone all in on Rivian. Because Bezos hates Musk. they hate each other. I don't know why, but they do. So Bezos in Amazon is a major backer of Rivian, which Rivian had some bad issues with batteries. They weren't like Elon Musk made some deal with China, who makes all the good electric car batteries. And so Rivian kind of got the short end of the stick with batteries. So then all of a sudden Rivian stock dropped. It's like a crazy rich guy Ponzi thing going on here with batteries in China and who's better friends with China. And apparently Elon Musk is super close with China. I don't know. Whatever. China owns Twitter now. Pass it on. That's all I'm saying. So Amazon's in trouble. Kool and Newport are two cigarette brands. They are trending together today because of the story that was out yesterday about how the government is going to stop menthol cigarettes because menthol cigarettes target Black Americans. And we talked about this yesterday. So here. So Kool and Newport, which are the two primary brands of menthol cigarettes, they're trending today because now people are like, Kool and Newports have been doing nothing but targeting the Black population. There's an ad for Newport cigarettes from 2011 that features a young Black couple smiling and flirting over a plate of burgers and fries. Beneath them simply reads the tagline, pleasure. A different ad in this campaign has another young Black couple smiling over a park fence by some rafters while one of them holds a cigarette. Another ad features, yes, another young Black couple smiling and laughing, this time at a coffee shop. Menthol cigarettes have been historically heavily marketed toward Black Americans, and that's had a strong enough impact that when the Food and Drug Administration proposed a ban on menthol cigarettes yesterday, the agency specifically noted that the move would save the lives of 92,000 to 238,000 African Americans. Again, my problem with this is the whole nanny state idea that, well, Black people enjoy smoking menthol cigarettes, and Black people are dying from the enjoyment that they get from smoking menthol cigarettes. So we must step in. We must show them that we know more than they do and save them from themselves. I hate that governmental policy. I hate that way of thinking. Stop protecting us from ourselves. Just, you know what? Pave the roads, get the garbage picked up, fund the army, do that kind of shit. But this kind of stuff, this is why people hate government. This kind of overreach, and this is overreach. The Black community is too dumb to know that menthol cigarettes are bad for them. So we need to step in and just take them away because they're bad little boys and girls. I hate this. Look, I've never smoked a cigarette in my life. I think it's gross. It's not anything that I would ever advocate for. But this is a different issue. It just happens to be concerning cigarettes. This is about the government stepping in and saying they know best, and I hate that. I absolutely hate that. Oregon is trending. Here's another example of a stupid government stepping in because they know best. Governor of Oregon, who is known as the wokest governor in America, she's taken it from all sides. The senior senator, Senator Wyden from Democrat from Oregon, is just going to town on the nation's most woke governor, Kate Brown, who is she's not even running for re-election. Why is she getting hammered? She gave clemency to a dude who marched an 18-year-old girl out into a field and then execution style put a bullet in the back of her head. He was sentenced to life in prison without parole. And Governor Kate Brown, on her way out of office, has decided he's a nice boy now. So she let him go. And so Senator Ron Wyden from Oregon, who's supposed to be on her side, is like, are you nuts? Are you absolutely insane? This person... Here's the story. Oregon's senior senator blasted Governor Kate Brown on Wednesday for her decision to commute the sentence of a Douglas County man who was sentenced nearly 3 decades ago to life without the possibility of parole for shooting a young woman in the back of the head. Senator Ron Wyden said Brown's decision to show mercy to Kyle Hedquist, now 45 years old, is wrong on every level, starting with its callousness towards the crime victim's family and extending to all Oregonians counting on public officials to make decisions with public safety in mind. Plain and simple, I oppose this grossly irresponsible use of the clemency powers, Wyden said in a statement issued by his office. Governor Brown's spokesperson, Liz Mara, called Wyden's comments surprising. Really? Really? You've got this. Now look, I do not believe in the death penalty. I don't think ape should kill ape. I always go back to my whole, Planet of the Apes thing. Ape don't kill ape. They knew that. Why don't we know that? I don't believe that we should get, and again, oh, but I thought you were a godless. I'm not godless. I'm not godless. I just don't conform to any single religion that, claims to know the truth. But I do believe that there is some sort of sanctity in human life. I do believe that we're not supposed to, under any circumstances, take enough. Government sanctioned murder is still, in my book, murder. We don't do it. So what do we do in a civilized society? Well, we accept the fact that there are going to be people who are going to violate the rules of our civilized society. And because of that, we have to make human veal. We have to put these people in boxes and store them away forever. This guy marched an 18-year-old girl out into a field, walked her for, a number of miles before just deciding, with a gun at the back of her head. He marched her with a gun at the back, and then just murdered her and left her there. A beautiful little 18-year-old girl, absolutely full life in front of her. He murdered her. Now, I would not have voted for the death penalty. I wouldn't. I would say, yeah, look, I'm sorry. I just have a moral objection to the idea of one human being killing another human being in any circumstance. But I would have said life in prison without parole. This guy doesn't get out. He has violated the most sacred rule of civilized society, which is that ape don't kill ape. Oh, but he's been there and he's nice. He's like a chaplain now. He's like a prison chaplain now. He's been there. All right, fine, good. Let him do that good work behind prison walls. He doesn't need to be let out. The governor, the governor was under the impression that Senator Wyden, shares her and President Biden's values when it comes to second chances and righting the wrongs of a flawed and inequitable criminal justice system. How is it flawed and inequitable? This guy admitted it. This guy has completely admitted what he did. It's not flawed. You admitted what you did. I'm glad you admitted what you did. That eliminates all questions about the situation. So now we can feel better about keeping you in a box for the rest of your life. Mira said in an email, it is unfortunate. And by the way, this crazy ass governor in Oregon, the president's clemency shit, that was all about dudes who had joints in their pocket. He didn't let out any murderers. He didn't let out any violent criminals. He gave clemency to a whole bunch of people who were in jail for like a bunch of years because of those stupid 3 strikes you're out rules, where a dude with a bag of weed who got caught, a couple of months earlier with a bag of weed goes to jail for the rest of his life. Those are the people he let out. Kate Brown, stop it. You let out a murderer. And now you're saying, but the president. Oh, shut up. Wyden's rebuke of the governor represented an unusually public dust-up between the Democratic leaders in a midterm election year when voters nationally are worried about crime. And we should be. Did you just watch that video? The video of the baseball game? We've seen 2 videos of Little League game. Well, one was high school. We've seen 2 videos of kids playing baseball, their games interrupted by what sounds like Fallujah-level gun activity. Christopher Stout, an associate professor at Oregon State University School of Public Policy, said Democrats are typically viewed as weaker on crime, and clemency can be an effective talking point for Republican candidates. Among the more violent crimes, I think Democrats want to show that they are still tough on these crimes, that criminal justice reform and clemency shouldn't be in all cases, especially violent ones. Yes. You want to give clemency. Give clemency to a 90-year-old woman who is in jail because her dirtbag grandson was selling crack out of her garage. Give clemency to that woman, okay? Don't give clemency to some guy who marched an 18-year-old girl out into the middle of the woods and blew her head off. That girl had a family. That girl had people who suffered immeasurable pain because of this act. This man violated the rules of civil society. He doesn't, after 30 years, after 30 years get, oh, he's better now. No, he's not. And you know what? If he is better now, fine. It doesn't erase what he did. He is imprisoned as punishment for what he did. Let that be a lesson to the rest of you. I hate this story. I hate this story, and I hate that it's trending, and I hate that this governor is just like, no, clemency. I'm so full of mercy. Oh, shut up. You're not Jesus. Mercy does not fall upon your shoulders. You are the highest executive elected official of the state of Oregon, and you are setting a god-awful precedent. Johnny Depp Amber Heard is also trending today. They're trending. Oh, look, every day they're trending. They're trending for a whole bunch of different reasons. They're trending today because a couple of things. Well, yesterday they were trending. We didn't talk about it yesterday. Yesterday they were trending because apparently they ran up like a $180,000 sommelier bill. They had in like 1 year they spent like $180,000 on like a wine dude who would like just bring them wine. And Johnny wasn't even supposed to be drinking wine during that period. He was supposed to be. So I don't know what that's about. But today they're trending because Johnny Depp's security guard took the stand, and he testified that during one of their fights, Amber Heard took Johnny Depp's phone and chucked it out the window of their penthouse. So the security guard had to go down and hang out with the homeless people down there to see who may have found the phone. And he found the homeless guy who had a phone, and they thought it was Johnny Depp's phone. So he paid him $420, gave him a bag of chicken tacos and a bottle of Fiji water to get the phone back. Celebrities. Yeah. Mission Impossible is trending. Mission Impossible is trending because Tom Cruise has revealed that Mission Impossible 7 is coming. This was at Cinecon. I like to think that I'm pretty well-rounded when it comes to popular culture, and I've seen just about every notable movie. The other night, I admitted, okay, here are my blind spots. Here are the big notable film franchises that I have never seen one of. Are you ready? Okay. By the way, I used to be able to say Harry Potter, but with my kid, I ended up seeing all the Harry Potter movies and I liked them. Okay, so here we go. Here are the big movies. Here are my blind spots that I've never seen. Ain't never seen no Lord of the Rings movie. I just ain't Hobbits. Hobbits do not do it for me. I don't want to see Hobbits. I don't care about Hobbits. Fast and the Furious movies. I ain't never seen no Fast and the Furious movies. It just looks stupid. Just looks like dumb. Although I have had some fairly in-depth conversations with people whose opinions I respect who say, you should see some Fast and Furious movies. They're pretty fun. They're kind of fun. You might enjoy them. So I am leaving the window open for me to potentially in the future binge watch all the Fast and the Furious movies. But to this date, I've never seen one. Jason Bourne. Never seen a Jason Bourne movie. Here's a real shocker. James Bond. Never seen a James Bond movie. When I was a little kid, they used to air like Roger Moore James Bond movies on TV. And I think like I've seen like, maybe half hour, 45-minute clip. I've never sat down and gone, ooh, a new James Bond movie and put it in and watch. Never. I never saw no Daniel Craig James Bond. And I love Daniel Craig, which is strange because I would possibly watch a Daniel Craig James Bond movie. Haven't seen it. All right, so no Fast and Furious, no Hobbits, no Jason Bourne, no James Bond. And I've never seen a Mission Impossible movie. That's right. I've never seen a Mission Impossible movie. I don't know why. Well, I mean, I do know why. They just don't interest me. But to be any more specific than that, I don't think. I mean, I like cool ass stunts, and here's what I think. Okay, you know what I have seen though? I've seen all the Jack Ryan movies. So it's not like espionage is something that I'm not into because I am into espionage. I just think that I am more drawn to espionage stories like the Clancy stuff, right? Like Jack Ryan, Patriot Games, Clear and Present Danger, all those. I'm more drawn to those because they seem more rooted in reality. Like, ooh, this could really happen. Because it seems whereas Mission Impossible, that's not a real thing. They're not real. That doesn't really have. Jason Bourne, he's not a real guy. He's the American Bond. Yeah, well, I don't watch the British Bond. So not really. The American James Bond to me is Jack Ryan. I love the Jack Ryan stuff. That stuff is good. That stuff I enjoy. I prefer Harrison Ford. Although, is it Alec Baldwin? I think I also like Alec Baldwin from Hunt for Red October, the original Jack Ryan. I think I like that too. But Harrison Ford is my Jack Ryan of choice. Who's the new guy? Captain America, right? Or is it Captain Kirk? I always get the Chris's mixed up. Chris Pine and Chris Evans. I get the Chris's mixed up. One of those guys is the new Jack Ryan. Oh, but wait, isn't John? Yeah. Jim from The Office is TV's Jack Ryan, right? On the Amazon series, Jack Ryan, which is good. I like that Amazon series. So I like Jim too. I like Jim, but Harrison Ford is my Jack Ryan. There you go. Mission Impossible. Just spent 5 minutes talking about Tom Clancy and the Jack Ryan movies. Because I don't know anything about Jack. I don't know anything about Mission Impossible. I don't care. It's not something I'm interested in. All right. Ozark, talking about something I'm interested in. Ozark is back. Ozark is trending. Ozark, the final, 10 episodes, 6 episodes, maybe 6 episodes. I don't know. I'm not sure. I know that they split up the final season of Ozark. I think it's 6 and 6. So I think the final 6 episodes of Ozark were released on Netflix last night at 2 a.m., something like that, whenever it happens. So I can tell you what I'll be doing this weekend. I will be watching how Marty Byrde basically gets out of all this meth. Ozark is so good. Here's actually what I'm thinking. Because it's been years since the original season of Ozark, I'm thinking maybe now that the whole thing is there, maybe I just go back to episode 1, season 1, and I just start rewatching and just work my way through it. So, because now, we're going to watch the last few episodes of Ozark, and there's going to be stuff that maybe happened in season 1 or season 2 that I'm not going to be all that familiar with. And I'll be like, oh yeah, that sounds right. But if I restart my binge from the beginning, then, over the next couple of weeks, I can have a better appreciation for everything that's happening. Anyway, Ozark is just, oh my God, the way last season ended. Oh my God, where they flew down to the drug dealer's house in Colombia or wherever they were. And then the lawyer gets out of the car. I won't tell you what happened, but oh my God, that was like the greatest final scene of a season in any episode ever. I was like, what? It made me just completely out of nowhere that happened. What? Totally freaked me out. So I'm very excited Ozark is back. I'm excited, but I'm also extremely upset. Ozark is back, and Ozark is also over. It's done. No more Marty Byrde. That's unfortunate. Bugs Bunny is trending. Why is Bugs Bunny trending? Well, I'll tell you why Bugs Bunny is trending. Bugs Bunny is trendy. This is funny. Bugs Bunny is trending because part-time Florida governor, full-time presidential candidate, was in Las Vegas over the weekend. Ron DeSantis, not over the weekend, last night in Las Vegas. He was campaigning for somebody who's running for something there in Las Vegas. And, he's all about the culture wars. That's all it is. Not real issues, just whatever is going to get the people he's targeting to be all stirred up and think that he's on their side. That's his whole thing. Not actual legislation or anything like that, or making life better for the people that he governs, but, just like a whole, aren't you mad? I'm mad. Vote with me because I'm mad. It's that whole deal, which just is so gross. And both sides do it, but one side seems to be doing it a lot more effectively than the other. So he got up on stage and he said, when we were young, you could watch cartoons without having to worry. Yeah, this guy wants to be president, and this is one of his big issues, is that cartoons are too, yeah, I'm tired of woke cartoon, whatever. First of all, what are you doing watching cartoons? So he says, when we were young, you could watch cartoons without having to worry, which has caused Bugs Bunny to trend because Everybody is sharing Bugs Bunny. Bugs Bunny was a psychopath. Look, I love Bugs Bunny. Don't get me wrong. I think Bugs Bunny is the goat of cartoon characters. There ain't nobody with a better personality than Bugs Bunny. Bugs Bunny was borderline criminal. Bugs Bunny had a whole bunch of baggage that he was carrying around. If you really watch Bugs Bunny and you see what first of all, he's a troublemaker. Bugs Bunny didn't want harmony. Mickey Mouse was like a bitch. Mickey Mouse was like, he's a total puss. Mickey Mouse was just, Bugs Bunny was a troublemaker. Bugs Bunny was just looking to screw people over and get bust on people. So I always appreciated that about Bugs Bunny. But so after DeSantis said that when we were kids, you could watch cartoons without having to worry. Now, I don't know how old these people think Ron DeSantis is, but when Ron DeSantis was a kid, it was not about Bugs Bunny. Ron DeSantis was a kid in the 1970s. Ron DeSantis is my age. So yes, we were aware of Bugs Bunny, but he's more of like a He-Man kind of a thing, which now that I think about it, that's got some serious homoerotic undertones unto itself. But Bugs Bunny is trending because people are pointing out all of the shit that Bugs Bunny did. And it's pretty funny. It's a pretty funny thread. Bugs Bunny was a bad dude. Here's what it says. Somebody showed a cartoon that has since been deleted because I wanted to show it. But Bugs Bunny killed a guy for coughing during his piano recital, which he did. He did. The cartoon was like Bugs Bunny was playing piano and some guy coughed and Bugs Bunny pulled out a gun and just killed him. Like, yeah. When we were kids, cartoons were friendly and safe. It says another one here is Pepe Le Pew was a serial rapist. He was. Pepe Le Pew was a serial rapist. Pepe Le Pew's whole bit was that he was trying to rape every female cartoon character that he saw. And then people go in to talk about the Black Crows, which were just like really racist stereotypes of lazy, stupid black people, which is true. If you watch the Black Crows from those cartoons, it's like, ooh, that doesn't age well. They also point out that Dumbo was an alcoholic because apparently there's a whole bunch of stuff where Dumbo would like drink like a big jug of moonshine and then Pinocchio also drinks beer and smokes and gambles. Bugs Bunny, here's where Bugs Bunny is really hitting its stride. Everybody is like, hey, Ron DeSantis, Bugs Bunny was a tranny. Bugs Bunny in like just about every cartoon put on lipstick and a dress and tried to have sex with Elmer Fudd. I mean, that's true. That is absolutely true. Bugs Bunny was constantly dressing up like a woman and trying to seduce Elmer Fudd. That's something that, that's not exactly in line with the current Ron DeSantis idea of what is and isn't appropriate. Prince Charming, they say that Prince Charming from the Cinderella films was a necrophiliac. Because what? He was attracted to what? The sleeping Snow White? She was sleeping. She's not dead. Yeah, maybe he's a date rapist, because Snow White was sleeping, but I don't know about necrophiliac. She wasn't dead. And Betty Boop is being called a big old prostitute. Betty Boop was just a prostitute. It's true. Like if you look at Betty Boop and what she was like totally about getting her money, honey, for any man that wanted. She was all about. Okay, so there you go. That's why Bugs Bunny is trending, because people are pointing out all of these cartoons from the so-called glory days, from the good old days, from the times gone by. All of these cartoon characters were just reprehensible people, and yet kids watched them, and everybody turned out fine. Adam says he's a cross-dresser, sure, not a transsexual. Potato. Jeff Glenn says Pepe Le Pew was very okay. JBM says, how many times did Bugs dress in drag? Well, apparently Bugs dressed in drag many times, because if you just go on the Bugs Bunny thread, at least a dozen. Just keep scrolling. There's just a dozen different stills of Bugs Bunny in different, Different things he's going for. Marilyn Monroe is trending. Marilyn Monroe is trending because of the new Netflix special that is out there about how she died and all that. I watched it. It's not all that great. It's okay, but it's not great. She's trending because fans are utterly disgusted with the Kennedys. That was one of the most interesting things about the Marilyn Monroe thing. They did have all kinds of recorded conversations between people who knew Marilyn Monroe, her hairdresser, her house assistants, her best friend, all of these people who over the years have talked about Marilyn Monroe and her relationship with the Kennedys, and say Kennedys plural because she had relationships with both of them. It began between her and Bobby Kennedy, and then Bobby passed her off. Brothers, creepy ass brothers. Bobby passed her off to JFK, and then JFK was done with her, and he passed her back to Bobby, and she didn't like that she was getting passed back to Bobby after being with the president. So then that caused all kinds of problems, and she became a bit of a handful for the White House to deal with. And they make the suggestion that if there was something untoward that occurred in her death, that it may have had to do with the White House needing to silence Marilyn Monroe. But here's why I didn't like this documentary on Netflix. At the end of it, they go, "Yeah, we don't know. Yeah, we have no idea. So you just spent an hour and a half watching this, and we gave you all this stuff, but we found no proof. We don't know anything." Basically, she did kill herself, but why did she kill herself? So that's the angle that they kill herself because she was so upset about the Kennedys. There really is no smoking gun that suggests that she was killed. It seems pretty cut and dry that she killed herself, but there was a whole bunch of questionable shit that was going on. I don't know. You can watch it if you want. I don't recommend it. It was okay. Some of the recorded conversations were interesting just from a historical perspective. I thought that was kind of cool. But there you go. So if you're looking for something to watch this weekend, you can or can't watch it. Way to take a stand. I know. Red Hot Chili Peppers are trending today. The Red Hot Chili Peppers are trending because they are replacing the Foo Fighters, who were scheduled to appear this weekend at New Orleans Jazz Fest, which I don't understand. You're going to have a thing called Jazz Fest, and you're going to have like the Foo Fighters and Death Cab for Cutie, and that's not jazz. None of that is jazz. Red Hot Chili Peppers Chad Smith on taking Foo Fighters' spot at the Jazz Fest. We're going to play our hearts out for Taylor. Okay. Still don't know what the Foo Fighters are going to do. They've made obviously it's still a little bit close to the passing of Taylor Hawkins, their longtime drummer. I don't believe the Foo Fighters will ever play again. I do not believe that Dave Grohl will ever take the stage again with another drummer behind him. He was just too close to Taylor. Now, that does not mean that the members of the current Foo Fighters will not play together in the future. They very well may. I just don't believe that they will ever play together in a band called the Foo Fighters. I think the Foo Fighters are done, which is unfortunate because I love them. I love the Foo Fighters. Dad rock, my kid. That's dad rock. I go, yeah, well then dads are way cooler than they used to be. An actual conversation I had with my son in the car over the weekend. Locked in syndrome. Have you ever heard of locked in syndrome? I had never heard about it until this morning, but it's trending. Locked in syndrome is a condition where basically your entire body becomes paralyzed except for your eyes. So you can't move, you can't do anything. You have to be completely catered to in every respect. You got to be force fed through tubes, and it's horrible. So locked in syndrome is trending for this reason. A woman in Louisiana. Oh, this is awful. This is such an awful story. Prepare yourselves. Oh, this is no bueno. Louisiana woman found dead in shocking neglect case. Melted into the couch. Ugh. A 36-year-old Louisiana woman who suffered from locked-in syndrome was found dead in her parents' home with her emaciated and feces-covered body melted into the couch. The body of Lacey Ellen Fletcher was found January 3rd, sunken into a hole in the living room couch. Go start to gag. In what officials said was one of the worst cases of neglect in memory, the East Feliciana Parish coroner ruled Lacey's shocking death a homicide, leading to a criminal investigation. The caretakers just let her sit on the couch. All bodily functions. She did all for years. She sat on the couch. Okay, we're passing on this one. Just Google search locked-in syndrome. There's actually a picture. Those of you who know my past know that I have a gag reflex, and I do not want to start gagging because I have a chest full of phlegm, and it won't be good. So I should have avoided that story. I do apologize. Let's muscle through. Romancing the Stone. Romancing the Stone is trending. Romancing the Stone. Remember Romancing the Stone? When the going gets hot, the hot get go. When the going gets rough. Billy Ocean. Yeah, the theme song for Romancing the Stone. Romancing the Stone came out in the 1980s, and it came out on the heels of Indiana Jones, and it was basically like a knockoff of the Indiana Jones movies. But let me tell you something. Romancing the Stone was every bit as enjoyable as the Indiana Jones. I loved Romancing the Stone. Romancing the Stone starred Michael Douglas. He would be the Harrison Ford character. Starred Kathleen Turner, Danny DeVito. And by the way, this is like the beginning of the Kathleen Turner, Michael Douglas, Danny DeVito trilogy. Not trilogy. What are they? Whatever, three-headed monster, because those people would work together in a whole bunch of movies moving down the road together. They all became buddies and all that stuff. So Romancing the Stone is trending because Michael Douglas is telling a story about how Kathleen Turner wasn't supposed to be, Kathleen Turner, who would go on to become one of his closest friends. Kathleen Turner was not supposed to play the lead female role in Romancing the Stone. Michael Douglas was the executive producer of the film. He was also the star of it. Deborah Winger was supposed to be the original star of Romancing the Stone, except Deborah Winger was crazy. Deborah Winger did not. So here's the story. Michael Douglas is revealing his reasons behind not wanting to co-star with Deborah Winger in Romancing the Stone. He says here's the story. She was in Texas doing Terms of Endearment. She normally doesn't deal with actors or anyone else when she's doing a film, which I understand, but she said, I'll hear what you have to say. So he was going to Texas to pitch her Romancing the Stone. She was making Terms of Endearment. He wanted to talk to her about Romancing the Stone. She usually doesn't like to be broken out of character, but she said, I'll hear what you have to say. And so we talked. She was spending her time, this is Deborah Winger, she was spending her time in the hospital because she plays a terminally ill patient in the picture. So she was doing method work, I guess, staying and living in the hospital during the entirety of the shoot. Douglas said they all got dinner one night and they were knocking back some tequilas. And then afterwards, he says, we walk out, and just as you would kind of go, oh, you, and give somebody a little punch in the arm, joking around, she goes, oh, you, and she reaches over and she bites me on the arm, he said. And the bite broke my flesh. The actor laughed about the interaction and said, though she was, all right, this is Deborah Winger now. The actor laughed about the interaction and said that although she was being playful, Michael Douglas is saying this. Michael Douglas, the actor, laughed about the interaction and said, though she was being playful, he thought to himself, I don't know, man, this could be tough. like she totally just crossed the line with him. I love these stories. Back in Hollywood, while meeting with the studio, Douglas said when the topic of Winger's casting came up, Michael Douglas quoting himself now. I break down in tears and I say, I just can't. I just can't go to the jungle with her. She bit me, man. She bit me. Look, she bit me in the arm. And he then revealed an arm that was still like all bruised and had teeth marks. I can't do it, man. It's not worth it. It's too hard. These pictures are too, they're hard. And then the producer said, okay, that's fine. In her 2008 memoir, Send Your Roses, Thoughts on My Life and Leading Roles, Kathleen Turner, who's now 67, referenced the story of Winger biting Douglas. Michael Douglas produced as well as acted in Romancing the Stone, so he had a lot at stake in its success. He originally intended to have Deborah Winger in the role of Joan, but they didn't seem to get along as well as he'd hoped. They met to discuss it at a Mexican restaurant in Texas, and she bit him. A rep for Winger did not immediately respond to people's requests. Now, okay, so Deborah Winger was like a huge. This has always been interesting to me, okay? Because Deborah Winger was like a huge female movie star in the 19 urban cowboy, officer and a gentleman, terms of endearment. I mean, Deborah Winger was like the big movie star actress that was out there. And then she kind of just dropped off, and all of the stories started circulating that, oh, she's nuts, dude. She's like kind of wacky. So I remember as a kid, this was around the time that Hollywood began to fast track another actress named Sean Young. And I remember thinking, oh, yeah, Sean Young. She's kind of the replacement for Deborah Winger. She's kind of exactly like Deborah. Look at that. If you wanted a Deborah Winger type, but you can't because Deborah Winger's crazy, you go and you get yourself a Sean Young, and you're like, she's a Deborah Winger type. And interestingly enough, I think it was in some movie, some like made-for-TV 1970s movie. Deborah Winger and Sean Young played sisters, which is interesting. So then Sean Young starts to get fast-tracked in Hollywood. And then Sean Young is even crazier than Deborah Winger. And neither of them ended up having much of a career past like 1990. Deborah Winger, crazy. Sean Young replaces Deborah Winger in the eyes of Hollywood casting agents as like that type. And then Sean Young goes crazy too. I mean, it took a good 10 years before they got to Sandra Bullock, who would finally fill that role of that type, that Deborah Winger type. And Sandra Bullock seems to have ran with the ball. So there you go. That's why Romancing the Stone is trending alongside Michael Douglas and Deborah Winger. Stagecoach Festival. Stagecoach Festival is a music festival that occurs in the Coachella Valley. It is not Coachella, it's another one. Stagecoach is obviously a bit more country western themed. People are upset because the Stagecoach Festival this year has banned Confederate flags. If you have a Confederate flag, they're going to make you take it down, or they're going to kick you. I don't know. What are you going to do? How far you want to go with this? How far you want to go with this? You're going to wade into a crowd. Well, how much security are you bringing for this? You wade into a crowd. There's a dude with a Confederate flag flying, and you're like, let's make him take it down. And you go in there, and that dude's like, I'm taking it down. And then you're like, well, then you're coming with us. And then what? You're going to have like, now you got to. This is stupid. First of all, you're stupid if you're, flying a flag that went to war against the United States of America. That's a traitorous flag. But also, it's stupid to say that you can't have it. Okay, well, really? I thought this was America. I thought that America held together so that people could have the choice to be assholes. And if that asshole wants to fly that flag, you can put it right there on the ticket stub. It can say, you cannot use a Confederate flag. But then what? What are you going to do? How are you going to enforce that? You can't enforce that. You're going to have 100,000 people. Ugh, so stupid. So anyway, Stagecoach Fest is becoming a big thing because people are like, banning the Confederate flag. Here's what I didn't know. I'd been to a number of NASCAR races out there at Texas Motor Speedway back when we were the home base for NASCAR in Texas, the old Live 105.3. And this is like back in 2005, 2006, 2007. I used to look out at all the Confederate flags and I'd be like, why do all these people hate America? I was just like, that's a flag that was used to murder soldiers who were under the American. I don't get it. It'd be like, all these people with Vietnamese flags or, Nazi flags. It's the same thing to me. It's like, that's a traitor flag. And well, no, it's not. It's a symbol of Southern pride. No, it should be a symbol of Southern humiliation. That's what it should be. All right. Look, you made a bad choice back in the 1860s. You went the wrong direction. That's fine. All is forgiven. We love the South. The South is an important part of America. Hell, I live here. I love here. I choose to live here. But let's not pretend that wasn't a mistake. Let's not pretend that going to war against the United States of America wasn't a mistake. And so stop with there's plenty of things that, I just don't get it. I just don't get it. And NASCAR banned the Confederate flag. I had no idea. How do you ban that? I can't imagine how. I mean, all of the Confederate flags and shit like that I saw when I was going to NASCAR races. How are you going to stop that from happening? Does it still? I mean, I can't imagine it works. Confederate imagery among fans has been a point of contention at the festival in the past, with some seeing the flag as a harmless symbol of Southern pride. Well, okay, that you can see it that way, but you're wrong. I mean, let's have a conversation about pride. You killed soldiers of the United States Army with that flag. I thought we were pro-military. I thought we were pro-America. I thought you can't have it both ways. The first few years of the festival, which began in 2008, it was common to see Confederate merchandise in the marketplace area, including even Confederate bikinis. I will admit that a Confederate bikini is I have seen some. I've seen some Confederate bikinis that I have not been appalled by. That noticeably came to a halt sometime in the mid-2010s, although no ban on Confederate merch was ever publicly declared. But in the camping areas, Confederate flags have remained common. Other flags, blah, 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 how fast this is all stupid stuff. Maren Morris, who is one of the top performers on the festival's lineup, spoke to the issue on racial issues with Luke Combs, another Stagecoach headliner. At these country music festivals, we see Confederate flags in the parking lots. I don't want to play those festivals anymore, said Morris and Combs. If you were a black person, would you ever feel safe going to a show with those flags in the parking lot? This year's Stagecoach I'm not, so I can't. This year's Stagecoach is noticeable for having what is to believe a higher number of people of color and of mixed heritage on the lineup than ever before, including, I don't know any of these people. Maybe you guys do. Breland, Raina Roberts, Smokey Robinson. What is Smokey Robinson doing at a country music festival? Shy Carter, never heard of him. Charlie Crockett, I don't know. Neil McCoy, Rhiannon Giddens. What is that? Like the country music version of Rihanna? I don't know who Rhiannon Giddens is. Randy Savy, Yola, and Amethyst Kia. These don't sound like country music acts. Although, interestingly enough, there has been sort of cross-migration between certain forms of country music and hip-hop music. So, I don't know. Stagecoach is hardly alone in taking a stand on the flag among gatherings that are known to cater to audience that feel an affinity with the flag. In 2020, NASCAR banned Confederate flags from its racetracks, a move that was not undertaken without some strong dissent. After the NASCAR ban 2 years ago, a Change.org petition was started to ask Stagecoach to bar the symbol of hate. Although, with the festival being canceled that year, so now this year. Okay, so here we go. Because of, some artists that have played at Coachella in the past have had to grapple with whether or not to end their use of Confederate imagery, knowing that however much of a political football it might be in the South, it is seen as a statement of hostility by the vast majority of people in the country. In 2012, Lynyrd Skynyrd, boy, you want to talk about branding. That is, Lynyrd Skynyrd's entire branding is that flag. Lynyrd Skynyrd made a statement that it was officially retiring the flag from its stage lineup, only to face such harsh responses from fans that the group said it would welcome back the flag on stage in tandem with the U.S. flag. When the emblem of the secessionist again eventually disappeared from Lynyrd Skynyrd's stage sets from their act, it was on a much quieter basis. So there you go. All right, we're still fighting over a flag that tried to destroy America. That's right, I said tried to destroy America. John says Smokey Robinson sang with Dolly Parton before. Yeah, but Smokey Robinson, I don't think of like Smokey Robinson being somebody that hardcore. Maybe this isn't a hardcore. It's California, so I don't know, but I don't know. Chicken Holocaust. Chicken Holocaust is trending. Let's take a look at what this is. Well, you know what this is? Do you remember at the Mavs game a couple of weeks back, a woman superglued herself, or Mavs? It was Mavs Timberwolves, was it? I don't think it was. Yeah, a woman superglued herself in protest to the floor. How weird is that? Well, she was protesting the owner of the Timberwolves committing what people are calling a chicken holocaust. And right now, chicken holocaust is trending. Here's the story behind it. Okay. Iowa egg-laying farm kills 5 million chickens and then fires 200 plus workers. Let's break this story down, okay? All right. The animal rights people are all freaked out about this. It's like, oh God, you people. Animal rights activists are up in arms over reports that a chicken farm in Iowa killed more than 5 million birds after detecting a case of avian influenza in what activists say was a gruesome culling method. The factory farm was later dismissed. The factory farm later dismissed the more than 200 workers it had tasked with slaughtering the hens, according to a report from The Guardian. Okay, here we go. Hold on, let's move down here. Because there's some moving parts in this story that I think we need to discuss. Rembrandt Farms, where the mass slaughter took place in March, is owned by billionaire Glenn Taylor, one of the wealthiest Iowans and an owner of the Minnesota Timberwolves. Last month, protesters from Direct Action Everywhere, an animal rights advocacy group, stormed the court at home games wearing T-shirts reading, "Glenn Taylor roasts animals alive." The Iowa Department of Agriculture and Land Stewardship in March announced that it had confirmed a case of avian influenza in a flock of commercial layer chickens in Buena Vista County, where Rembrandt Farms is located. Zoe Rosenberg, a protester, alleged that the farm created an environment that made it easy for disease to spread. Okay, so they killed all these chickens. They killed 5 million chickens because they didn't want the spread of, the avian flu. So the animal rights people are upset that they killed all these chickens. These chickens look, we eat chicken. We eat chicken. We go to the store. I'm going to go to the store this weekend and I'm going to buy some chicken because I eat chicken. Those chickens have to come from somewhere. I don't want to go out and hunt chickens. Can you hunt chickens? Are there wild chickens? I guess there's kind of ducks. I guess they're not chickens though. You know what I'm saying? Those chickens were going to die anyway. So are they upset about the waste of the 5 million chickens that, they died and nobody ate the chicken? You don't want us eating chicken anyway. I mean, wouldn't an animal activist, if they came over to my house and said, "Oh, you're having chicken," if I went, you know what, I'm not going to have this chicken, and I threw the chicken out in the garbage, just wasted the chicken. I just threw the chicken, I wasted the chicken. Wouldn't that animal activist be like, "I applaud you, thank you for that"? It's the same thing. These chickens were going to be eaten. These chickens didn't get eaten. But, why do you care? You didn't want people eating the chickens anyway. The chickens were you want to just release 5 million chickens? That is not an option. You're being ridiculous if you think, because this is happening. This is happening. We eat chicken. You're not going to win that battle. You're not going to stop I love chicken. You're not going to stop people from eating chicken. So, I mean, I don't get what this whole thing is. They killed 5 million chickens. They killed 5 million chickens that were going to be killed anyway. They were going to be killed anyway and eaten. The only difference here is that these 5 million chickens were killed and then not eaten because there might have been, I don't, chicken holocaust. That's why chicken holocaust is trending. Jeff says, no, a vegan would be happy if you threw the chicken out. An animal activist would still be pissed. They're also saying the horrible and inhumane conditions led to that. Now, well, it ain't nice. Commercial animal farms are not nice, but that's how we do it. And this particular instance shouldn't. I mean, this is no different than the way that we have been creating beef and pork and chicken and all the things that we eat. Now, if you're talking about the specific method by which they killed all of these chickens, Adam, okay, that might be a conversation we can have, but then we're going to have to break down what is worse. Just cutting a chicken's head off, feeding a chicken into a neck thing. I mean, I don't know what is worse. This is a ridiculous thing. This is a ridiculous story. Chicken holocaust. When you call this bullshit a chicken holocaust, all you're doing is, well, you're being offensive to the actual real victims of the Holocaust, for one thing. And secondly, I don't understand what the argument is. Because if ultimately their goal is to just make nobody eat chicken, pork, or beef, well, you're not going to win that. Okay? You're a moron. You need to just do you. That's the way you do. You don't want to eat chicken? Lead by example. You don't eat chicken, you don't eat pork, you don't eat beef. That's fine. But if you truly think that your actions in this life are going to lead to the rest of us not eating chicken, beef, or pork, you're delusional. So shut up and get in the corner. You're not going to stop the world from eating meat. You can stop yourself from eating meat, and that's good on you. You know what? Good. But this is ridiculous. These chickens were going to die anyway. And, it's, they were died in a terrible way. I don't know. I think that the way we kill animals is probably pretty terrible. I think that there is no peaceful euthanasia process for, putting our meat down, right? Have you ever seen how they kill cows with those bolt things to the brain? Hi, cow. And then, come on, man. Have you ever seen a pig wheel? Oh, have you ever seen how they section live pigs? Pig gets put up on the wheel alive. I mean, it is brutal. It is brutal, but it isn't new. This isn't a unique instance. I guess you could say killing this many for no profit and just taking the loss. But that's a business. I don't get it. I don't get it. And I don't like the use of Holocaust. I don't. And I hate these animal people because you know why? Do you know why I hate these animal people? Because I love animals. And there are real serious instances that they could be mobilizing and helping with. They could be helping. There are real instances of animal abuse, but commercial chickens, commercial fish, commercial beef and pork, that ship has sailed, people. There's no way that you're going to change people's position on that. I love pork. I love beef. I love chicken. I'm going to keep eating it. And you know what? So is probably about 400 million other Americans. You weirdos, you people who want to, you want to talk about lab animals in the way that we do test it. Fine. That's another conversation. We can get into that. Those are issues that, I might even be on the side of PETA, the way that some animals are treated in some situations. But if we're talking about the way we feed the country, the way we feed the world, stop it. We're not all just going to eat salads because you're upset about the way that we prepare our beef, pork, and chicken products. It's ridiculous. It's a big waste of time. And again, you're calling it a Holocaust. Just stop it. Stop it with that shit. Do you know what the Holocaust was? Here, let's sit down and let's talk about the cruelty to humans by other humans before we get into worrying about why chickens had to die. Yeah, man. That's it, guys. That's it. That's all I got. Boy, I know we're running. I'm gonna let's run through some things and see. I'm sorry. I'm feeling so crappy today. I hope that this doesn't turn into like a whole, hey, your weekend's ruined because now you've got a terrible chest cold. Although, have you noticed all of this talking? I haven't really been coughing that much, which is good. Neil Adams All right, I don't know who Neil Adams is, but apparently he's a cartoon dude, Neil Adams. Neil Adams died. He's trending at number 1. People seem upset. Apparently he had something to do with Batman. Oh, look at this. This is interesting. Josh Jacobs, trending right now. Los Angeles Raiders have declined the 5th-year contract option. Oof. Excuse me. Something came out to say hello. The Raiders have declined the 50-year contract option on all 3 former 2019 first-round draft picks: defensive end Clelin Ferrell, running back Josh Jacobs, and safety Jonathan Abram. It's interesting about the draft last night. Big defensive draft. It's a very deep draft this year in all but the glamour positions. One quarterback, Kenny Pickett from Pitt went to the Steelers, which is kind of a cool story because he's a Pittsburgh kid and he played at Pittsburgh and he's going to the Steelers. So that's kind of cool. No running backs taken in the first round of the NFL draft last night. Not running. I'm telling you, when I was a kid, this is why it's interesting to me. And it's not all of that strange because the running back position has been devalued over the past, decade or so in the NFL. But when I was a kid, the running back was the most important position that you could have on your football team. And in the modern NFL, the running back is the Bic lighter position. It's a Bic lighter. It's, shaking them. Okay, yeah. I know I just bought this lighter, but it doesn't seem to be working. So I'm going to chuck it. And I'm just going to go out and I'm going to reach into my drawer. I got 100 other Bic lighters. And it's because of the changes to the passing game and the way that they're more of a vertical league now. And, all of that kind of stuff. But it's just interesting to me that running backs are like garbage. It's I also saw a list of the highest paid positions. The second, left tackle. When I was a kid, offensive left tackle was, not an important position. Any position on the offensive line was one of the lowest paid position groups. The offensive line was the lowest paid position group in football for generations of football fans. Now the left tackle is one of the highest paid positions in all of the NFL. The left tackle, why? Because the left tackle, most quarterbacks are right-handed, and the left tackle protects the blind side of a quarterback. And like I said, we're now in a vertical passing first league. So the left tackle position is suddenly super important. What the hell I'm doing here? I'm just free balling now because there's not a whole lot to talk about. Let's see. Oh, wait a second. Englewood is trending now. Okay. Englewood is a Englehood. Englewood is a neighborhood on the south side of Chicago where like 90% of the crime is occurring. Like every time you hear something bad, it's happening in Englewood. And the shooting video that I showed from a St. Rita high school baseball game where somebody we played, and I said that was the field that I used to play on as a little kid where we play our pickup games because it's just like 2 blocks from where I spent a great deal of my time growing up in my grandparents' house. I thought Englewood was trending because they were trying to say that was Englewood. That ain't Englewood. Don't call that neighborhood Englewood. That neighborhood is not Englewood, but it's not. Englewood is trending because a bunch of years ago, Whole Foods. I remember when this happened. This is the dumbest thing. Food deserts, like the poorest neighborhoods in America don't have grocery stores. So like Englewood, which is like a really bad neighborhood, talk about gang infested on the south side of Chicago. So Englewood, like 6 years ago, got a Whole Foods. What? There ain't nobody in Englewood can shop at a Whole Foods. Well, guess what? Breaking news. The Whole Foods is closing. The Whole Foods in Englewood is closing. God damn. That's just so stupid. So stupid. Bunch of liberal, lefty, white, organic, overpriced food people decided, let's give something back to the black community. Let's see if they'd like our boutique diet soda for $10 a 2 liter. Nobody's going to shop at a Whole Foods in Englewood. Nobody. That's trending. Willie Nelson is trending. Happy birthday, Willie Nelson. Diablo Canyon. I don't know what that's about. Yeah, guys, I'm gonna go to bed. I am really not feeling well. My voice held out though. We might call this early. Yeah, well, wait a second. Let me see right here. Here's another. We're gonna look now on the. Let's look on the MSN trends. This is better than the. I apologize for today's show, you guys. I am just not feeling good. Adam says Whole Foods was famously owned by a right-wing dude. Most lefties I know don't shop there. Yeah, I didn't know that. But lefties shop there. Lefties, maybe the ones are just smarter than the other ones. But like the dumb, like the Highland Park soccer moms, that live in this neighborhood, they all shop there with their. Is it more rich people now? Is that what it is? Because I used to always think about Whole Foods, and you're probably right, Adam. I used to always think about Whole Foods as being just like stupid organic stuff. I mean, I hate Whole Foods. I literally have a Whole Foods like a block away from here, and it would be like the most convenient. I just wish it was a Kroger. It is just like the most convenient store that we have. I could run up there and get whatever I want whenever I want. And there's nothing there. There is nothing there. I just want a bag of Doritos. Oh, now Whole Foods doesn't sell Doritos. They sell some in-store house brand organic Blue Sun tortilla. And they're like $3 more. Incidentally, do you know what Whole Foods seems to have pretty decent prices on? Ice cream. They do. Their ice cream section. I always go to their ice cream section and I'm like, well, that's not terribly expensive. That's not terrible. Although the other thing that I always need, like the thing that I like to run out to, and it's not a big deal because there's a 7-Eleven right around the corner. But like if I need like I don't know, like if it's like 8 o'clock at night on a Friday and I'm like, oh damn, I'm out of Coke Zero. I need to go run and grab a 2-liter bottle of Coke Zero. I don't like to go to 7-Eleven for shit like that. Because a 2-liter bottle is like $3 at 7-Eleven. When I can go to a Kroger and I can get it for $1. I can get like a 2-liter bottle for $1 at Kroger, $3 at 7-Eleven. So I have this Whole Foods on the bottom. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go up there and see what kind of soda they got. They don't have any name brands. Whole Foods has no name brands. They have just like stuff they made up themselves, and it's all overpriced. All right, let's see. Let's just run through some of these. Golden Retriever finds a girlfriend. I'm not interested in that. Prince Charles, let's see, what is this? Prince Charles is reportedly heartbroken over Prince Harry's daughter. Why? Incredibly sad after they didn't meet during Harry's UK visit. Oh, I guess Grandpa didn't get to meet his granddaughter, and he's sad. I guess. Okay. Yeah, there's really nothing happening here today, folks. I think we got through most of it. I'm sorry, I'm coming up a bit short. I'm coming up 10 minutes short on my commitment to 2 hours. But I almost didn't do the show at all. I was coughing so bad at like 10:30 this morning. I'm like, oh man, I probably shouldn't do a show. And even if I do, so I'm here. John says beer selection is nice at Whole Foods. Yes, John. Credit to John. You're absolutely right. James Parker pointed that out on Pillow Talk a couple of months back. He said, no, they got a great beer selection. So I did go and I actually looked at the beer selection. They do. Now it's like boutique beers. It's like all kinds of like cool ass, micro brew kind of stuff. But that's fine if that's what you're into. That's great. I like Bud Light, Miller Light, Mick Ultra. I'm not, I don't need to pay $12 for a 6-pack. If I'm going to drink a beer, it's going to be a beer that's 90% water that I can just slam 10 of them and feel good about myself. But I do like a nice fancy Weiss beer every now and again. Like if we're being fancy, if we're being like ritzy, like we're having a nice steak dinner or something like that, and I want to have like a nice beer, then I'll get like a nice like a Weiss beer or something. Don't you mean Weiss? I don't know. Is it Weiss or Weiss? I don't know. I don't care. I know how I say it. Adam says, I go to local places for my beer selections, better selections, and it goes to good people. Yeah, if I could only shop at like one-off mom and pop places, I would. I think that's a really admirable and noble way to spend your money within the local community and support the small business people. I hate the Amazons. I hate the big stores. I hate the conglomerates. I would much rather. But the problem with that is that you just can't. Those mom and pop places can no longer compete economically. They cannot offer prices. And look, if I had money, if money wasn't an option, then I would exclusively shop at mom and pop places. But I can't. I have to go where the cheapest price is. So, what are you gonna do? Like the liquor stores, that's what you're talking about. Like there are some great like one-off liquor stores that have really cool selections, but everything is $2-3 more than the liquor section at. Actually, I haven't bought liquor since I've moved back here. Does Kroger have a liquor set? They do. Kroger, you can buy beer at Kroger, right? Yeah, but it's Walgreens here that you can't buy liquor at, right? Walgreens doesn't have liquor here. Okay. All right. I don't know. Let's see what else. Anything else we can talk about? Ugh. Sad stories. Just popping over the sad stories. All right, let's see. One more time. We'll try one more thing. Let's see what's trending on Google at the moment. Google's good. Google Trends are good. So I ran out of things to talk about today. Paris Saint-Germain. Anybody want to talk about French League soccer? Not me. An Amber Alert has been issued for a missing Jacksonville boy. All right. That doesn't really concern us. Ozark is trending. Solar eclipse. First solar eclipse of 2022 is this weekend. Here's when and where to see it. Okay, I'm game. Let's check this out. Because, every time a solar eclipse happens, they tell us it's the last one for 1,000 years. And then, like, another one comes next week. The first solar eclipse of 2022 will happen this weekend. Given those lucky enough to see it, a spectacular view. See, solar eclipse. Don't you remember a couple of years ago when everybody like went to Tennessee because there was some like solar eclipse and it's the last one that you're ever going to see? And then everybody went. It was a big deal. Remember Trump famously was like, "Dah," and he was like looking straight up at it, like don't look directly at it. What? Don't look at that. Remember that? That was like a big deal. That was like a big. Now we got solar eclipses all the time. The first solar eclipse of 2022 will happen this weekend. Given those lucky enough to see it. As is often the case, though, the eclipse won't be viewable from everywhere in the world. In fact, only a select few areas in South America will have. Okay, so we're going to move on from that. Who cares? I don't think we have a very. Nobody's going to. Anybody going to South America? I don't think so. Boris Becker is trending. Julia Garner is trending. Do I love Julia Garner? Julia Garner, who of course plays. No, your screen didn't freeze. Who does Julia Garner? What's her character's name? Julia Garner from Ozark. Anyway, she's awesome. She is awesome. She's out of a job now. That's okay. I think Julia Garner's going to be a big movie star. Ruthie Langmore. Thank you. I'm going to miss her character, but that is, boy, let me tell you, she is a spitfire. That Ruthie Langmore. Julia Garner is going to have a big career. I am telling you, she is a tremendous actress. She has been great in everything. And I saw her in something that wasn't just the Anna Delvey thing on Netflix or Ozark. I saw her in something else too, and I'm like, damn, that Ruthie's good. Katie Holmes is apparently making out with somebody in public. His name is musician Bobby Wooten III. I don't know who that is. Whole Foods, there you go. Whole Foods Market in Englewood, Chicago is closing. That's trending in the top 10 on Google. Why is that such a big deal? Because it was a dumb idea from the beginning. There is nobody that lives in Englewood that wants to shop at Whole Foods. Dickies Arena. Dickies Arena in Fort Worth is trending here, number 13th on Google National Trends. Why? George Strait is headed back to Dickies Arena with 2 shows just this fall. So there you go. That was announced. That's why Dickies Arena. Is Dickies Arena nice? You know, Dickies Arena was built while I was gone. Dickies Arena didn't exist when I was here, but I was looking at pictures of it. I saw this time-lapse thing on YouTube, which showed the construction over it over the course of like a couple of years. The time looks very cool. I mean, it looks like a legitimate badass arena. Is it as big as like American Airlines Center? Is it like on a par with that? McCartney's playing there. Paul McCartney is playing. It's got to be big, right? I haven't been there. I have not been there. I look forward to the first time I get to go to Dickies Arena in Fort Worth. It looks awesome. Jeffrey Dean Morgan from The Walking Dead. He plays, all right, let's do this again, like we just did with Ruthie. Who does Jeffrey Dean Morgan play on Walking Dead? He plays the bad guy. What's his name? Negan. I beat you. I beat the people in the chat room. Negan is slamming toxic Walking Dead fans. So that's a problem. There you go. Jeff says Dickies holds $15K and every seat is expensive. Okay. Well, for a guy like me, dude, let me tell you, every seat in every arena in the country is expensive. I got to get free tickets if I'm going to go to any of those things. I'm friends with E. E gets tickets to everything. Demi Lovato is trending. Demi Lovato is trending because she is now identifying as gender fluid and non-binary. Well, isn't that interesting? She has updated her pronouns on Instagram. So good for her. Good for they. See what I did? Totally disrespected the whole thing. Los Angeles riots are trending. 3 minutes. I'm stretching it to 3 minutes. I don't want to cheat you guys out of like the full, 2-hour Friday show. I'm sorry. Oh, Netflix. This is new. This is big because I saw this as we were doing the rest of the show. Netflix, brutal month for Netflix. They're laying off a whole bunch of people. Whole bunch of layoffs coming to Netflix. Let's see here. Coincidentally, it will be all of the people who walked out during that Dave Chappelle protest from a couple of months ago. I mean, if you're going to start laying people off Netflix, start with those people. Start with the people who just walked out on their jobs. It remains to be seen if the streaming giant will initiate another round of layoffs or drill down on other ways to cut costs. It's been a tumultuous month for Netflix. The streaming service shares plummeted more than 26% during pre-market trading on April 20th after the company reported a loss of 200,000 subscribers during the first quarter. Again, this is the problem that I have with the corporate methodology. Netflix gained like 100,000, new subscribers in the first 3 months of the pandemic because people who didn't have Netflix because they were out all the time and they went to work and they just didn't have time. Those people were suddenly housebound, and Netflix benefited greatly. It was 100,000 new subscribers in the first 7 weeks or 6 weeks. Where is it? Oh, up 7% in the first week, 6 weeks. So in 6 weeks, they went up 100,000 new subscribers, which is a big deal, which was big because you would think that everybody already had Netflix. So now everything's opened back up and they've lost 200,000 or yeah, that's what it was. It was 1 million. I'm sorry. So they gained 1 million in the first 6 weeks. Then now everything is opened back up, and they have lost 200,000 of the million that they gained, which is a net positive of 800,000 subscribers, and they got to lay people off. Netflix was a juggernaut before the pandemic, but because they benefited so greatly due to the pandemic, which is extenuating circumstances. That can't be seen as just, you can't build on that. You can't go back to a normal open society after a pandemic artificially inflates your subscriber rate and then fire people because people who don't watch Netflix anymore because they're back going out to bars and clubs and having a nightlife and going into work. This is what I hate about corporate America. So we gained 1 million, and then we lost 200,000, which is still an 800,000. Oh, but that 800,000, we got to fire everybody. We got to fire everybody now. That's how it works. This is why people hate corporate America. God. And I always go back to like 20 years ago. We were in radio. We were sitting in a ratings meeting, and we were number one across the board. We had the biggest numbers that we ever had. And then I remember the general manager of the radio station going, "All right, so the next one, we're expecting at least a 2% increase." And I remember thinking, we just gave you the biggest numbers that you've ever had in middays. We just gave you the biggest numbers that we've ever had. And you're telling me that that's not good enough. You want more? At what point do you hit the ceiling? At what point do we start to look like failures because we are crushing what we had performed in the past? You know what I mean? That's the same thing with Netflix. Gained 1 million, lost 200,000. Everybody's got to be fired because they lost 200,000. Even though they gained 1 million. That's 800,000. I hate corporate America. I hate it. I hate it. Adam says, I listened to a Planet Money podcast that said it was basically the 80s culture that changed Wall Street, where they went from profit-oriented to growth-oriented, and it ruined many companies. It ruined the country. It ruined many people. Yeah, that's interesting. Jeff says, when I'm unsure of a pronoun, I just use their name. Good for Demi. Good for Demi. Okay. All right, guys, that's it. I am going to go jump in bed. I do not feel good. Here's the good news. The aspirin that I took just before jumping on the stream here, they weren't PMs. They weren't. They were regular ibuprofen, which is good because I would have quit about a half hour ago if that were the case. Thank you so much for a great week. I appreciate it. Monday night, it'll be Pugs, Kelly, and James on the Pillow Talk edition. I'll be back Monday afternoon for another high noon. And also, should anything like really big happen, I'll jump on. I will jump on this. There hasn't really been, I say that. I say like, if there's big breaking news or anything like that, subscribe to the stream because I will jump in and we'll do, because that's really what I wanted to do with this. I wanted to be able to cover like breaking news as it's unfolding, where we could all watch it together, and like see, just as it's happening. I guess thankfully that hasn't really been something that we've had opportunity to do very much in the first, 9-10 months of us doing these shows. And that's good because, most of the time those kinds of things concern mass shootings, plane crash, just terrible, terrible things. Maybe if something good happened, I'd jump on. Celebrity deaths, we've jumped on for a couple celebrity deaths. Okay, so subscribe. I could jump on at any time covering any kind of breaking news. Let's see what my kid is listening to. Oh, my kid, do you want to hear something awesome? Do you want to hear something that's just, I just absolutely love? So my kid made me a Spotify playlist and he titled it Songs for Dad. And they're just songs that, okay, here we go. He's lifting weights again. He's using the Spotify at the moment, and he's listening to Daft Punk again, which is so weird. Okay. Where is it? Songs for Dad. He made me a whole playlist of stuff that he's into, that he wants me to listen to. I was listening to it last night, keeping an open mind. All right, here's some of the songs that he put on his playlist that he made for me. Songs for Dad to listen to. Body remix by Tion Wayne and Russ. I don't know what that is. In Too Deep by Eminem. Turn It Up, Chameleonaire. Killer by Eminem. Those Kind of Nights by Eminem and Ed Sheeran. Stronger by Kanye West. And then Daft Punk, 2 Daft Punk songs around the world. Godzilla featuring Juice WRLD with Eminem. Holiday, Green Day. Rockstar by the Baby. Tear the Roof Off by Bliss and Esso. I don't know any of these. Gold Digger, Kanye West. Like he thinks he's hipping me to Gold Digger. That's cool though. I like it. What's Poppin' featuring Da Baby by Jack Harlow. Intergalactic, Beastie Boys. Barracuda, Heart. See, it's cool. My kid's got cool taste. He's wide. He likes it all. Barracuda, Heart. Whiskey in the Jar, Metallica. X Gonna Give It To You, DMX. One Shot, Two Shot, Eminem. Fast Lane, Bad Meets Evil. Welcome to Detroit by Trick Trick. Where the Hood At by DMX. Power, Kanye West. Tone Deaf, Eminem. Forgot About Dre, Dr. Dre and Eminem. Something in the Way by Nirvana. And Sicko Mode by Travis Scott. I'm gonna show him the respect. He took time. He made me a playlist of music that he likes, that he wants me to listen to. So I will listen to a whole bunch of those songs I already know. So that's cool. That's very cool. But even the ones that I don't know, I will listen to. I will listen to Da Baby with an open mind. I truly will. I'm telling you, that is like that is like the best present that he could ever get me. Because he doesn't have money, so he's not gonna give me a Ferrari. He's not gonna give me anything that I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, cool. But that he took time, considering what he is excited about and what he wants me to listen to. And he went and he made a little list, and he was thinking of me when he was doing it, and he sent it to me. And now that is a great gift. I never got this when I was a kid. Like, you'd make your mom a picture. You'd sit there and you make a picture and you're like, here you go, happy birthday. And they like really seem to like it. And as a kid, you were like, what the hell is... Here he goes. Here he goes. He's taking it over. Stop it with your Daft Punk. He is in the late 70s, early 80s German precursor EDM music. I don't know. Well, he's got cool musical taste, and he's really into music, and he writes lyrics, and he's so maybe that's a thing. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. I guess he either wants to be a hip hop star or a professional football player. Life goals. But anyway, now I get it. Now I get why when you drew that picture for your mom and you gave it to her and she really seemed to like it, I get it now. At the time, I didn't get it. I was like, okay, that's pretty easy. I can crank these out every time I'm in trouble. I'm in trouble, Mom? Here you go. Picture you. It's like, but I get it. He made me this playlist and I'm like, oh man, that is so awesome. I absolutely love that. Is Trevor Bauer trending? Huge MLB news. Trevor Bauer suspended 324 games, 2 seasons starting ASAP. Wow. You'd have to think that he's going to appeal that, right? Because there is no criminal investigation. I believe the criminal investigation was dropped. So, wow. I mean, that's a career ender. That is a career ender for one of the most electric arms in baseball. That is crazy. Thank you for that, Adam. I didn't know that. Brady, here's the beautiful part about you being on a call the entire show. You can just back it up. You can just back it up. You go to YouTube, go to pugscast.com, just back it up from the beginning. You've missed nothing, my brother. You've missed absolutely nothing. Let me see. Okay, the kid is still lifting weights to Daft Punk, which is strange. It's like bathhouse music, you know? It's a little strange. All right, so we're not going to play John Hinckley because I don't want to ruin his thing. I don't want to ruin his vibe. He's got a whole thing going on. Thank you, folks. Appreciate you being with me all week. Appreciate you bearing with me today. I feel like a bag of dick, and oh man, I'm hot now. I started out cold. That's why I was wearing a sweater, hoodie, sweater, whatever you want to call this. I don't know. I don't know how to end it. He says to me, he loves that. He likes a bunch of Daft Punk songs, but that Around the World is his favorite. And he's like, Dad, all they do is say the same thing over and over again. I go, I know. And he goes, it's so cool. I'm like, really? I'm not pausing it. This is just a song playing. That's the entire song. No bridge, no nothing. But hey, he's discovering music that was written in like 1979 by a bunch of French dudes in robot outfits. Good for him. Very cool stuff. All right. Again, if you can support the show, this is the last day of the month. We are about $80 short. Just throwing that out there. If you have anything left in the tip jar that you can share with the show to keep us going, you can hit us up on Venmo. You can hit us up on the Cash App. However it works, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it anyway. Just if you've got anything else that you can help out with, that would be great. And if not, we'll see you on Monday. Regardless, for high noon. And then don't forget, Monday nights are me and Kelly and James. Oh, it's a whole thing. It's a whole lot of fun. Check in one more time. Non-stop. All right. Bye, everybody. Have a great weekend. Appreciate you. And I'm going to go lay down.